All right, everybody, welcome to today's video. I hope you've been having a great weekend so far. And today we're continuing our storytelling with the restoration of my 1970 Plymouth Cuda project that I did a little over 12, 13 years ago now, it seems. And this car we did right after we did the 71 Cuda build. As soon as we sold the 71 Cuda, it seemed right in line. I had a line on a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda project. And this car, of course, we ended up spending more money on up front to purchase than the 71. We paid $9,000 for this car, but it was a fairly low rust car. It was pretty straight for the most part, really rock solid, and a complete solid foundation to start with. And having it being with less rust and less bodywork involved than the 71, I was willing to spend extra money up front on the purchase price because that meant I had less time to do in bodywork and metal replacement. Now, that said, being that it was a 1970 versus 71, I knew I was gonna have to spend extra money on certain parts because I had to make it that much nicer and have that much more desirable components on it because the 70s were selling for less money than the 71s. Now, this is went through the same process with the 70 that we did with the 71. The goal of this car was to turn around and sell it to turn a profit. And we're taking the lessons learned from the 71 build and applying them to the 70. So things that I could get away with on the 71 that I couldn't get away with on the 70 were like having the standard Cuda dual scoop hood or the automatic transmission or the standard gauges. None of those things were going to be acceptable doing this 70 build. The 70 had to have at least a 446 pack, which the 71 also did, but it also had to have a 4-speed, it had to have rally gauges, and it had to have a shaker hood. Now, of course, I wanted to do a 426 Hemi again, but still, it was definitely out of the budget, and with what our plans were for doing a restoration and selling it, the ROI on the 426 Hemi wasn't there compared to the 446 pack. And so we went ahead and figured, all right, we'll just do the 446 pack. Now, of course, one of the biggest lessons learned from the 71 build was not to paint it a color that we loved. And so for that reason, when we did the 70, we went ahead and picked the sublime green. And the reason we chose that was because neither my wife nor I are really fond of green, but at the same time, sublime green being a high impact color, we knew it was going to be popular for the resale market. So of course, after we went ahead and got the car, we got it stripped down and started assessing how bad the car was. And of course, the car was really rock solid. I ended up having to replace the trunk pan and the driver's inner fender and do a little bit of patchwork around the window channels. But other than that, I didn't have any real metal work I had to do other than install the 4-speed hump in the floorboard. And that made things a lot faster on the bodywork side of things, and it just made the process go that much quicker. Now, unfortunately, at this time, as with the other reproduction parts not being available, shaker hoods weren't available on the reproduction market yet either. The good news is it had a good solid flat hood on this car, and they did have conversion kits available to convert the flat hoods into shaker hoods. So I went ahead and ordered one of those and did the conversion, and it turned out beautiful. Nowadays, you can just go ahead and call Auto Metal Direct and they'll send you a shaker hood already done and you're ready to go. Unfortunately, back then, we didn't have that privilege, so we had to do it the hard way. And of course, being a green with green interior car, that meant I had to source a lot more of the interior components. And again, being that this was 13 years ago, 14 years ago, the reproduction market wasn't what it is today, so I had to source a lot of original used parts. And so it's meant spending a lot of time on eBay and on the forums looking for deals because I didn't want to spend an arm and a leg on parts because at the end of the day, we were trying to finish this car to flip it and make money on it. So went ahead, sourced a good set of interior door panels in black and the seat backs in black. Went ahead and ordered a reproduction dash pad from year one and picked up a set of original rally gauges for the car, and it just made the interior look really sharp. Of course, for when it came to finding the drivetrain, I lucked out and was able to find a date-coded 446 pack engine and got that sent out and rebuilt that, and then went ahead and installed that in the car. One thing that was really unique about that 446 pack, not the fact that it was a 70 446 pack engine, but the carburetors were direct connection marine carburetors. So instead of having the outboard carburetors being vacuum operated, they were mechanical linkage outboards. And it just a little different, not totally correct for the car, but at the same time, they work great, and I had no complaints about them. Then of course for the transmission, going to have a 4-speed in it, went ahead and found one of those online. We did have a hiccup on that though. The 4-speed I found online, I wanted to get an 18 spline, so I found one, ordered it on eBay, had it shipped out, and it got lost in transit. And unfortunately, with the shipping company that I'd gone through, they didn't have the proper insurance level on the shipment, and we ended up losing out on, I think it was like $1,300 I had spent on the transmission, which really hurt because again, I was still in college, and actually I had just graduated college at this point. And so being a fresh college grad and not having a lot of money in the first place because I was living in Silicon Valley at this point, taking that $1,300 hit was almost my monthly rent, and that definitely was painful. So what I ended up doing was I had another 4-speed transmission, a 23 spline that was from a big block car that I had in my inventory because it was originally slated to go into my 72 Challenger. So I went ahead and used that one, and ended up delaying putting a 4-speed in my Challenger as a result. But I ended up spending more money on yet another transmission for this project. So we went ahead and started putting everything together, getting the bodywork buttoned up, getting it painted, and it was just looking really, really sharp. And then when it came down to the exhaust system, we went ahead and when we did the 71, we did a MagnaFlow kit, and the kit didn't fit very well and required a lot of effort to get it installed right. So for when we did the 70, we decided, you know what, we're just gonna go ahead and call Accurate Ltd and have them send us one of their reproduction exhaust systems and install that. And so that's what we did, and it bolted right in, no problems, everything fit as it should, and the car sounded really good for being a factory stock reproduction exhaust system. So of course we went ahead and wanting to take everything to the next level on the 70 versus the 71, went ahead and detailed everything out and refurbished everything on the suspension, made it that much nicer, the interior, and after all said and done, the car once again turned out amazing. It turned out even nicer than the 71 did, because at this point we even had that much more experience under our belt, and we started out with that much nicer of a car. And the car was just phenomenal. I really love that car. It was a blast to drive with that 446 pack, the pistol grip 4-speed, and the shaker hood. Just watching that engine torque while you're driving down the road was just an absolute blast. And of course it pained me when we went ahead and sold that car, but such is life. And it also became a little bit of a challenge selling that car, because at this point when the car was finished was right when the market crashed of 2008, and so the price point on these cars had dropped a significant amount. When we first started this project, we were expecting that we were going to be able to turn around and sell this car in the neighborhood of like $60,000. And with the market crashing, we definitely took a hit on that. Luckily, we still came out ahead. And when we sold the car, we had, I think, just about $30,000 total invested in it. And we ended up selling it for about $45,000, I think it was. So it wasn't the $60,000 we were hoping for, but we still were well in the black on it and did really well in the project. I do miss that car, not as much as the yellow one, primarily because it was green. I mean, if we painted it plum crazy purple or B5 blue, I would have really had a hard time letting that car go, and I definitely would be really missing it now. One day I'll probably get another 70 Cuda project, but before then we'll end up with another 71 or two 71s before we go and buy a 70. And that's today's video. I hope you were entertained by this story. If you were, go ahead and smash that like button. Give me that thumbs up. It helps me out tremendously with that YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you want to be kept up to date with all my future uploads, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell as well, so that way YouTube will keep you up to date of all the videos I do in the future. And as always, guys, I will see you the next video.